How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back with another video. We're doing our first thoughts today. This first thought is on Tiamat. That's the whole name, Tiamat. It's from the new D&D set that's coming out this summer. Early spoiler, really excited about this card. But before we hop into that, remember, we got a link down below. Check that out. We've got the TCG Player affiliate link in the Patreon if you want to support the channel. Also, my own personal store. Inventory is still pretty low, but you can buy playmats and stuff there, which is pretty cool. What else we got down there? We got the TikTok, we've got the Twitch, we got the Twitter, and the MTG Content Creator Awards. Vote for me, please. Nominate me for Best Small YouTube Channel. And we're going to hop into this. Before we hop into the Tiamat first thoughts, though, I just want to go over a couple of the new cards that were spoiled. Also, from the D&D set, we've got the Vorpal Sword. This card seems sick. Being able to just kill somebody with it. This card seems very powerful. 3 mana. It's 1 mana equipment. 2 to equip. Good. Equip creature gets +2/+0 and has death touch. That seems pretty solid. It's a pretty solid card there. But also just tacking on 8 mana, you lose the game. This card's nuts. In any evasive deck with evasion, this card's going to be an auto include. I like it. I like it. We also got Prosperous Innkeeper, which lets you gain life when creatures enter the battlefield, which seems pretty decent. And then I don't think either of these are really playable inside Commander, but I'm going to just mention them. You got Portable Hole and Power Word Kill. Power Word Kill, maybe. Portable Hole, probably not playable. But just cool new cards that just got spoiled. Also spoiled for the even quicker coming Modern Horizons 2, there's a lot. We've got Urza's Saga, which is not the set, the Enchantment Saga Land. This card's nuts. This is such a weird card, and I think it's going to be very powerful. It's got some good effects. It's cool. It's very cool. You also got Diamond Lion, which is basically a lion's eye diamond on a creature. That seems pretty cool. I'm not sure how much play it's actually going to see, but any deck that wants Lion's Eye Diamond, it's not crazy competitive, could probably use this. Like, this is probably going to be in Muldrotha, maybe. It's cool. We also got Brainstone, which is like Brainstorm on a rock. Seems okay. And not new, but new to modern cards that are confirmed are Sanctum Prelate, which is going to be a buy box promo, and Counterspell. So Counterspell's finally making its way to modern. Get your Counterspells while you can. And now we're going to hop into Tiamat. The Tiamat deck tech here. So, this card's cool. Every time when you cast it, when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you get 5 dragons from your deck. So you have to you can't like flicker this thing, that won't work. You need to be recasting it. So stuff that lets you bounce into your hand seems great in this deck. Just a few to name off. We got Crystal Shard and Temur Sabertooth, which are really repetitive ways to do it. Plus Temur Sabertooth sticks around very easily because it becomes indestructible. And Crystal Shard you can use into your opponent's creatures, which is also very nice. You've got Run Away Together, which can bounce Tiamat and one of your opponent's creatures, which seems solid. And you have Venser, which just has a lot of utility, letting you either bounce one of your opponent's spells or permanents or bouncing Tiamat. All those seem like great includes in the deck. Next up, I just want to talk about the dragons for the deck. This is one of the bigger categories because there's a lot of good utility dragons that, like... So Tiamat can enter and you can get whatever dragons you really need. There's a lot of good dragons you can get with this. So it's kind of like a sign of the Dragon in the sense that you can kind of just get whatever you need at the time. But with Cyan, you don't get the entrance battlefield triggers. With Tiamat, you will, because they'll either be entering from being cast or cheated into play or something like that. So you got Beledros Witherbloom, new card. Being able to untap all your lands seems pretty fantastic. Hellkite Tyrant to be able to steal all the artifacts that are in play, basically, all your opponent's artifacts. You got Uvara Hellkite and Lathlas Dragon Queen to make a bunch of tokens. The Dragon makes your dragons cost cheaper. Plus, it has a huge ability of just letting you drop permanents into play. So if you have the Dragon in play and Tiamat in play, you swing, you get to... So you have the Dragon in play. You cast Tiamat, you get 5 dragons to your hand. You swing in with the Ur Dragon and maybe another dragon that you have. And then you get to put 2 of those dragons into play. That seems great. That seems fantastic. Yeah, Silmgard, Drifting Death, as a board wipe. You also have Steel Hellkite and Balefire Dragon to do similar things, and Dragon Lord of Targa. All those do pretty similar things there. Bladewing Risen, so you can get back a dragon that's in your graveyard. What else? Scale Lord Reckoner for protection. You get Teneb the Harvester to also reanimate. Dragon Lord Silumgar, so that you can steal whatever you need. Like if someone's got some crazy permanent in play, like a Nyx Bloom Ancient or something, steal it, and you're in a happy position there. Then you got Vivictus Asmati the Dire. This is one of my favorite utility dragons because you can Chaos Warp 4 things, one of them being your own, every time you attack with this thing. That puts in work. That's a good card. And lastly, the other dragons I want to talk about are Changelings, because you can get Changelings with this too. So you can get Masked Vandal, so that way you can blow up an artifact or enchantment. That seems fantastic. It's a very cheap card. It's a good card. I like that card a lot. You can get Crib Swap. Technically, it's a dragon, but it's also an instant that can exile a permanent or a creature. That seems fantastic in the deck. And you've got, where was I? Unsettled Mariner, more protection. And Morate of the Frost. You can literally go and grab a shapeshifter, like a legitimate clone effect, while grabbing a dragon. So you just kind of copy whatever you need on the battlefield. That's great. That's awesome. And so that's what I want to talk about for dragons. Now I'm just going to talk about some specific tribal cards. Cards that are, some of these are not specific to dragons, but some of them are specific to dragons. Just some good cards for dragon tribal. You got Dragon's Horde, mana rock that can turn into card draw. That's a great card in this deck. Dragon Tempest. Dragon Tempest is pretty good. It lets you give your dragons haste and lets you deal a lot of damage around. Dragon Speaker Shaman, Urza's Incubator, and Dragon Lord Servant, and also Herald's Horn all make your dragons cost less, but Herald's Horn also has a bunch of upside on top of that. That's a great card. Kindred Dominance, board wipe for anything that's not a dragon. Same thing with Crux of Fate. Haunting Voyage seems very cool. That and Patriarch's Bidding. Both those seem great, but Haunting Voyage is really cool. That card seems very powerful in a tribal deck that has big creatures. Which is this exactly. It seems like this is like the perfect style deck for Haunting Voyage. I can't think of a better tribe to throw that into. Maybe zombies just because you fill the graveyard more, but it seems great in this deck. And then Reflections of Littjara. Just double up all your dragons. That seems fantastic. That seems great. Easy. Just who doesn't want to have 2 Scale Lord Reckoners or 2 Hellkite Tyrants, 2 Uvara Hellkites. Oh my god. You can do some nasty stuff with that. Next up, I'm just going to talk about some one-off cards that seem great in the deck. You got Teamer Ascendancy, so you can give all your dragons haste and also draw cards because your dragon's going to be pretty big. So you'll be able to draw a lot of cards off that. You got ways to cheat your creatures into play because you're going to be filling your hand with dragons. You need a way to get them out cheap. You got Sneak Attack, which is a fantastic card in this deck. Quicksilver Amulet, Court of Bounty, and Savala Stampede. All those seem like fantastic includes. Next up, another way that you can just dump your dragons from your hand onto the battlefield. You use Morophon, make them all cost Wooburg less to cast. And you can also throw in Fist of Suns or Joda to make them cost 0 to cast. And so you just you have Morophon, you have Joda in play. You play Tiamat, you go and get 5 dragons, you put those 5 dragons from your hand into play, and you get any cast triggers that they may have. Awesome. What else we got here? Panharmonicon, why not grab 10 dragons? That seems great. Who doesn't love 10 dragons? And then lastly, not lastly actually. You're also going to need mana doublers because you're going to be very mana hungry with this deck. There's a lot of big spells. You're going to need to fill the deck with anything that's not a dragon basically is going to have to be ramp. And you're going to fill the deck with ramp. And one of the faster ways to ramp is by mana doubling. So stuff like Mirari's Wake, Mana Reflection, Overabundance, and Zendikar Resurgent all seem like great includes in this deck. You can also throw in Lurking Predators, so that way you can sneak dragons into play out of your library. And the World Tree and Dryad of the Elysian Grove seem great just to give you the correct colors, so you don't have to worry about that. Same thing with like Chromatic Lantern. That's probably going to be a good include in this deck just because it's also ramp. And lastly, I'm going to talk about some combo stuff you can do. So, Tiamat actually makes a pretty solid food chain combo deck. So you run Food Chain, you run Eternal Scourge, Mist Hollow Griffin, and Squeed the Immortal. You can sack any of those to Food Chain and cast them from exile and do that over and over and over again and make infinite mana that you can use to cast creature spells. After you do that, you cast Tiamat, sack it, go get your 5 dragons, sack it to Food Chain, and then cast it over and over and over again so you have all your dragons from your deck in your hand. You still have infinite mana to cast creatures. So then you take all those dragons from your hand and dump them into play and win the game off your dragons. Some of the ways you can do that is like with Scourge of Valkis or Terror of the Peaks, just to damage straight at face. Or you can use Dragon Lord Kolaghan to give everything haste. Or a combination of the two. Easy. Easy way to win a food chain here. It's a good food chain deck. Another combo you can do is Savage Vent Maw plus Aggravated Assault. Basically gives you infinite combat steps. That seems pretty solid. I mean, who doesn't like infinite combat steps when your board is full of flyers? Big flyers to add to that. Seems good. And another way you can do it is you can do some combo stuff with Maskwood Nexus, Conspiracy, Xenograft, or Arcane Adaptation. That seems like a really cool idea, just being able to play one of those and grabbing whatever creatures you want to combo with. You can go and grab your Kiki Jiki and your Zealous Conscripts, because they would technically be dragons if you did this. That seems great. Also, those cards could just be a backbone of a really cool deck that, like Tomer's Tribal deck. You can do a Tribal deck with Tiamat using those cards and just grab whatever creatures you really need. That seems very cool. I like that. It seems very, very cool. And that is what I've got for Tiamat. And I keep saying Tiamat like there's going to be more to the name, but it's just Tiamat. I don't know. It's just weird. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, everybody.